Hey everyone, welcome to Area 616. Last Saturday, two major Marvel trailers were released online. Jessica Jones Season 2, along with the season's premiere date, and the first trailer for the animated Spider-Man movie starring Miles Morales, with the title being revealed to be Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Normally I would make trailer breakdowns on the day the trailer comes out, but last Saturday just happened to be the one day where my internet wasn't working, so I couldn't. Yesterday I made the Jessica Jones breakdown, so today I wanted to talk about Into the Spider-Verse. I know it's probably been so long that nobody cares to watch a breakdown anymore, but I just wanted to talk about it as there's some really cool stuff in it. We'd heard for a long time that this movie will have a very unique visual style, but the animation is just fantastic and distinct. It almost feels like a comic book, which is really neat. The colors are amazing, and it has a kind of choppy look to it that I've heard some people don't like, but I honestly think it suits the style. I wasn't crazy excited for this movie before just because lately animation hasn't been my cup of tea. I've always preferred live action, but honestly, this looks great. We get barely any insights into the plot whatsoever, and we only see 3 characters in total. These characters are obviously Miles Morales, aka Spider-Man. I love his redesigned costume with the spray-painted spider symbol. It's a really neat way to visually set him apart from the other Spider-Man as far as the logo goes. In the movies, you can always tell which version of Spider-Man is being talked about based on the logo alone. This is Tobey Maguire, this is Andrew Garfield, this is Tom Holland, and now this is Miles Morales, played by Shameik Moore. The next character we get the briefest of glimpses at is the Prowler, aka Aaron Davis, aka Miles' uncle. He's not the main villain of the movie, but he is one of the villains. His costume, from what we see, looks pretty comics accurate, which is one advantage of putting him in animation. In live action, that costume wouldn't work. In animation, it can look great. Here, he's being voiced by Mahershala Ali. You might recognize him as the guy that played Cottonmouth in Luke Cage. He's a really great actor, so I think he's going to knock Aaron Davis out of the park. The third character we see is only shown for maybe 5 seconds, but it lit the internet on fire, and that was Peter Parker, aka the original Spider-Man. Based on this shot of a tombstone Miles is looking at, we know that in this universe, like in the Ultimate one, Peter Parker is dead, and Miles has taken his place. But then there's this shot of Miles and Peter talking in a subway, so a lot of people are thinking this is an alternate universe version of Peter, thanks to the title being Into the Spider-Verse. If you really look at this scene, I'm pretty sure this is just a flashback. Miles looks younger here, and he's wearing a Peter Parker Spider-Man shirt. So I think this is an instance, not long before Peter dies, where Spider-Man happened to save Miles and they end up talking. I think this moment is probably what inspires Miles to take up the mantle of Spider-Man after Peter's death. We don't know who's playing Peter, but I've heard a lot of fans say that they're hoping he's played by either Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield, which would be really cool. Honestly, I think this movie is only called Into the Spider-Verse to explain why there's a different Spider-Man this time. I just don't expect there to be 30 Spider-Men swinging around, and honestly, kind of hope there isn't, just because that would take attention away from Miles himself. Miles is awesome, and he very much deserves his own movie. When they announced Spider-Man would be coming to the MCU, I was honestly among the group of fans who wanted to see it be Miles this time around, even if it meant that in the MCU he was the first and only Spider-Man. Of course, Tom Holland and Spider-Man Homecoming ended up being phenomenal, but still, it would have been pretty neat. Point is, I'm very happy to see Miles get his due. He really is a great character. Liev Schreiber has been cast as the unconfirmed villain of this movie. We don't see any hints of a main villain in the trailer, so it's hard to say who he is exactly, but the theory is that he's playing either Kraven or Mysterio. Kraven because, honestly, he'd make a great Kraven, be it animated or live action, and Mysterio because that's a character that would probably work best in animation. Let's be real, it'd be hard to pull off a fishbowl head look in live action, but it could look great in animation. They could, of course, go with the ultimate version, but that would still look better here. However, I have my own theory, and it spawns from a brief shot in the teaser that you would be forgiven for missing. It shows a Fisk-owned building, which appears to confirm that Wilson Fisk is at least in this universe. So honestly, I think that Schreiber could potentially be playing the Kingpin himself, which would also tie the Prowler into the plot. Maybe the Prowler is a thief that Fisk hires to steal something for him. That would be a neat way to include him, and would also harken back to the Ultimate Spider-Man's first arc. It was, of course, with Peter Parker, but the first real villain he faced off against as Spider-Man was the Kingpin. So that's my theory, but who do you guys think Schreiber is playing? How much would you like to see the Spider-Verse play into this story? Are you excited for this movie? Let me know all your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
This morning I woke up in a fortress of distortion. I'm at war with my emotions.